This is actually groundbreaking, and I've never heard anyone say exactly what I'm about to tell you, and it changes everything. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Juliet Cleary. I'm a manifestation coach helping you to quantum jump to your highest, most abundant timeline. If you like this content, make sure to give it a thumbs up, to subscribe and tap that bell icon. And to work with me, that information is in the description box below for you. You don't need to feel it in order to manifest it. I know that sounds really controversial because even for me, for years, I thought that the emotion was key. I thought that the feeling of your desire as being done was the thing that actually manifested what you wanted. And that's mechanically incorrect. So emotion isn't actually necessary for manifestation. In a sense, the secret is not the feeling. It's what's behind that. Truth is, your emotions are always, every single time, byproducts of a belief or an identity. You may have heard the phrase, emotions do not exist in a vacuum. And what that actually means is that you never just feel something just because. There's always a belief or an identity behind that emotion, which is why you feel that way. What's actually mechanically happening is that there is a belief of who you are, of what is true for you, which then creates, as a byproduct, emotions, which then goes to thoughts and then to actions and results. So the emotions, all while powerful and wonderful, are not the thing that's actually creating your reality, but the belief of who you are and what is true for you, your identity. And here's the mind-blowing part. Mechanically, you can only feel this new reality, this wonderful new desire, you can only feel it if you have already shifted into that reality in the moment. So what does that tell us about shifting realities and quantum jumping? You've been doing it this entire time and not even realizing it because you've been so caught up in your circumstances seeming to tell you who you are and what's true for you. You didn't realize that you've been tuning in and becoming, actually being these new identities. Now I want you to think about this. So let's say this reality here is your current reality, okay? And this one is your ideal reality. In this reality, you feel maybe certain emotions, like maybe you feel a kind of like a bit of lack, maybe a bit disappointed, a bit like unfulfilled. Okay, so this person, this personality is completely different to this one, your ideal reality with the ideal preferred version of you. Now, when you sit down, you're like, I'm gonna feel the emotions of my future and tune into it so I can manifest it. In order to actually feel those emotions, to bring them up, to evoke them, you actually have to shift over here to this reality in order to do that. So understand that anytime you've been doing that, unconsciously, automatically, you've been buying into the belief that I am the person who has this thing. Boom, now you can feel it. Which also explains why when you sit there and you're like, I'm trying to feel it as real, but you can't bring up those emotions, right? That's because you're over here in your current reality, still very much associating as the person who doesn't have it, who's trying to get it, who's maybe desperate to get it, but does not have it. You're still buying into that belief, you're still this identity. So you can't feel what's over here because you're over here and you can only feel this. If you are not this version of you, the ideal wealthy version of you, the most abundant in all areas of life version of you, if you are not being this person, you can't feel what they're feeling. It's impossible, right? So you didn't realize that all this time you've actually been shifting identity and shifting reality, but you didn't acknowledge it. You're still associating like, I'm still this person, like I tuned into that, but I'm still the old person. And so you still kind of experience that. Really, you're not generating a feeling out of nowhere. You're actually always first shifting into an identity that then feels this way and has that life and takes these actions and gets these results. The feeling is actually just evidence that in the moment, You shifted, you became that person. But here's the thing, once you acknowledge and you decide, I am this person, I am this new wealthy person, I am this most ideal version of me. You're just naturally being them. You don't have to sit there and feel it all the time. You're just being them. You have their life. All of their results feel normal to you. They're not like super exciting every day. Like there's little adjustments in how they feel. There's little differences there for sure. But most of their amazing desires, results, experiences that they are living actually feel very normal and natural. So you're not, needing to sit there and try and feel it and bring up all these feelings. If you've decided that you are this new person, if you've shifted your identity, especially on purpose, and you're now just being that version of yourself in your life, you're showing up to your life as the new person would, the new personality, making choices that that version of you would make. There's no need to sit around and try and feel something and try to manifest something. You're the person who has it. You're not the person who's trying to manifest it. Now, if it does feel super aligned and you want to tune in and feel it and bring up that feeling because you know you are that person and you can do that and you're tuning in to the reality, the real reality where you're there and it feels so visceral, then absolutely do that. But you're not doing it from a place, this new you is not doing that from a place of lack, from a place of I'm trying to manifest it. It's no, I am this. And it's why I do this. It's why I choose to feel this way. It's why it comes naturally to me. I love to sit here and experience it because I am that person. And that's actually the truth. If you're feeling those emotions, you're bringing them up, you're already that person. So that's why it's like, well, you don't need to feel it. You already are it. And tapping into the feeling is simply your permission slip to experience and to actually know that you already are that person. Because remember, there's no outside physical world. The whole physical reality, your entire life is existing and happening within your consciousness. So there's no outside world. It seems like there's no outside world. Even when people are like, okay, it's a projection, but the projection is happening inside your consciousness. So these versions of you, every possible version of you and every possible version of your life that you can even imagine and more exists already. You're not creating anything. You're not manifesting anything. You decide who you are and you express yourself as that identity now, not later. The emotion is a byproduct of that. The emotion is the evidence that, yeah, I am this person. When you tune in on purpose and you feel that, you feel your desire as real, in order to actually feel that, you have already decided, usually on an unconscious level, that you are that person in the moment. You believe this is yours and this is what it feels like to have this thing. That's why you can feel it, because you're tuned there, you are that person. So the belief and the identity always comes first, yes? Then the emotion comes about to signify to you, yes, you are now this person. Will you accept that? Will you say, oh my God, yes, I acknowledge that this feeling means that I am this person. And I don't mean a feeling of jumping up and down, excitement. I mean, it could be a feeling of positivity. It could feel like expectation. It could feel like confidence. It could feel like just a better feeling, just something that felt slightly different, slightly better than prior to that moment. So if you make a decision right now, a command, a freaking command of who you've decided to be amongst all the infinite multidimensional, like the different versions of yourself, infinite versions of you that exist, again, remember, within you, no outside world. All the potentials and realities that exist within you, not outside. The moment you make that decision, the strong command, like, this is who I am. I don't care. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is who I am. This is who I choose to be. You are that person. You will feel it. This is what I teach. You will feel different when you make that decision, whether it's like confidence or optimism, or your physiology changes and you feel a little bit maybe more energized, or it can be this most subtle thing. It's not like this jumping up and down excitement. That's the indicator that this is who you are. And as soon as you feel an emotion there, or some different type of feeling, a sensation, It's just showing you who you already are and who you've always been. This version of you has always existed within you. Every version of you does. This reality already exists within you, and you're just actually being able to see that, to witness that, to experience that. But the emotion itself, the feeling, is not manifesting the things in your life. Even when people are like, okay, when you focus on a potential, you focus on like all potentials exist, all possibilities exist. And when you focus one, like the observer effect with quantum mechanics, when you focus upon a specific potential, it collapses down into matter. It turns from a wave of energy into form, into actual like particles, into matter. Many people have said, okay, it's the feeling. When you feel it, that's what collapses it down. No, because the emotion is always a byproduct of the belief or the decision of who I am, right? It is always coming from the identity level first, which is always a choice, whether you make that choice on purpose right now, whether you do it unconsciously and have no idea you're doing it, right? Or whether you use things like bringing up emotions or other manifesting processes to use as your permission slip to choose that identity. You don't even realize you're doing it half the time. It is the identity, the belief of who you are and what is true for you that then brings about that emotion. That belief, that identity is always what is manifesting for you. So the next time you're like, man, I guess I gotta, sit here and feel it all the time until it manifests. No, you don't. Feeling it is not necessary. And I know this from my own experience because I've manifested so many things by simply the decision. Simply, you could even use the word assumption, right? But basically the declaration of this is who I am and I be that person in my life. That naturally generates the emotions, like I said, the emotions, the thoughts, the actions, and the results that match that belief of that identity. And if you think about it, feelings fluctuate, okay? If manifestations were actually happening based on the feeling, right? Or some people say, the feeling mixed with the thought. But if that were the case, then how could someone manifest consistent wealth if, they'd have to be happy all the time or totally expectant all the time or very positive all the time? And that's simply not true, because I'm sure if you look at your own life or you've, been able to look at other people's lives, that some people have been able, for example, to generate a lot of wealth and still be having like these up and down emotional roller coasters. So if it was about emotion and that was the way that people were, and these are some people who are still teaching, manifestation, and they can still have these big ups and downs. So if your level of wealth or the things you're manifesting into your life was dependent upon the feeling, and feelings fluctuate, well, that doesn't make sense, right? Whereas a decision of who you are, an identity, that anchors into reality. That doesn't fluctuate. I mean, you can choose to fluctuate on that. You can choose to go back and forth on that, but it's up to you. It's your choice. It's your decision. If you commit to that, if you choose not to fluctuate on that, it doesn't, right? But it means that you can still be the ideal version of you. And even that ideal version of you has bad days, feels their emotions fully. When they feel anger or they feel sadness, they feel it fully and they alchemize it and they accept it. The money and the life that I have now, I would have thought years ago that yes, I would have had to feel like, it would have felt so beyond exciting. But now that I'm living it, it's so normal, right? But this decision, this identity piece is anchored in so strongly because I choose to know that I am this new person. I choose to commit to that no matter what. And that's what keeps my results consistent and, getting better and better and more expanding, as opposed to buying into the idea it's about how I feel and it's about the emotion, and that's what manifests reality. Like, you'll create that illusion if you buy into that idea, but it can make it really difficult. So like I said, once you decide to step into the new identity, the emotions and thoughts, they come automatically. You don't have to sit there trying to feel it. You don't have to sit there trying to make it happen. Gosh, that's not how you make it happen, because the version of you who has it isn't sitting there trying to make it happen. They're just being themselves. So who is that version of you? The question is not how do I get that manifestation? How do I manifest that house, that amount of money, that car, whatever it is? The question is, who is the version of me who has that? Let me decide I am that person now, and I'm going to be unwavering in this decision. I'm going to be 100% committed, all in, both feet in, to this decision of who I am, and I'm going to actually be that person now. Even if you've watched enough content on manifestation to know there are people who are simply deciding or assuming that this is who they are or this is what's done for them, and they don't use processes and it manifests, right? They're not sitting there feeling it every day. Maybe they are appreciating more in their life. Maybe they are following their joy, because that is part of being the new identity. That is part of being their fully expressed self who lives in that ideal reality. But it's not to try and manifest something. It's just because it's who they are. You're not sitting there trying to feel it every time. As many times as I can feel it, it's going to happen. Again, you can use this as a permission slip. All manifesting processes are permission slips and placebos. Okay, it's a placebo effect. So if you're like, okay, I believe that if I sit and feel the feeling of my desire as done every hour or every 3 hours, I know I'm going to manifest it. That's you having just made a decision that you know you're going to be this new person or get this new result or manifest that amount of money when you do this. So you literally just created that with your own power and said, this is what's going to get me this result. And from that space, more than likely it will work for you, because you just set up that rule. You just said what this is going to be and who you're going to be at the end of it. And that's what you will experience. But also, you can take the shortcut. You can make the decision now. You can have the transformation now. And this is what I teach with identity shifts, is you have to, you can shift now, and you have to be that version of you now in order to get their life and their results, their manifestations. But you do not have to feel it. You do not have to sit there and meditate on it. You do not have to do any manifesting processes. What I teach is the most simplest way to have instant shifts, to have instant identity upgrades, and therefore reality upgrades, income upgrades. Your emotion is a byproduct of the belief, of the identity. Your emotion is a side effect of you saying, okay, I'm the person who has this. Boom, you shift identity, you tune in, and you actually feel it, because you are that person. You are that person. You are that person right now. So get excited. Be that person. Decide you are. Be that person. And allow their results to find you. That is it for this video. Let me know if was this mind-blowing or did you already know it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe. The link to my program, Rich Woman in One Day, that's in the description box below for you. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.